Hey everybody, this is Kathy from Whole Home and Body Health, and today I want to walk you through a post-remediation inspection. So I'm in the middle of it, obviously, don't mind my hair, dirty face, all the things. But I wanted to just show you what you or a third-party person should be doing for you if you're going through a mold remediation. This is incredibly important. This is probably the most important thing if you're going through a mold remediation, because by and large, nationwide, mold companies, mold remediation companies do not do remediation to my standards, to what I would consider is sufficient. They do not do it for health reasons. They may come in, and the majority of them come in, open up a wall, spray their magic chemical, and walk away. And I'm here to tell you that does not work. I don't care what they'll tell you. They've done hundreds of projects and remediations, and it always works. But ask them, when was the last time you tested 6 months later that house? And they don't go back. They don't retest. And so this is why people say that remediation fails, because they're going back into a house that's still got mold in it. I cannot tell you how frustrating this is for me when I'm working with people that are sick and they go through remediation and they spend many thousands of dollars and they're displaced from their home and it's just disrupting their whole life. And then the remediation companies don't do it adequately and they go back in and they're still sick. It's so frustrating. So I'm at a client's home today that had a lot of mold sources. And the remediation company said, we're all done, everything's cleaned, and so I can go back in to verify that everything is done. So I highly, strongly recommend that you work with a third-party mold inspector, industrial hygienist, indoor air quality professional to confirm for you that it has been done and there's no mold left. So what I'm going to do is obviously look around, look for water staining. I shouldn't see any water staining because if they removed all of the sources, they should have sanded or wire brushed or removed the building materials that were were water stained. Even if it looks like there's no microbial growth there, because when you see mold, you know that there are millions of colonies there. So just because you don't see obvious black mold, even though it could be any color, doesn't mean that there's mold not there. If there's water staining there, it has to be addressed. So I'm going to look around for that. I'm going to do the white glove test, which actually, big hint, black works better. So I'm going to basically be putting a new pair of gloves on and running my fingers over surfaces, and if I get dust, that's an immediate fail. Because if dust comes up, then they didn't clean it adequately. And if there's dust left behind, could there be mold spores left behind? Of course. So I'm going to do my black glove test. I'm going to look around. And then I'm also going to take some swabs and maybe some air samples, depending on what I see. If I see any areas that look suspicious or look like mold, I'm going to swab it and send it to a lab for confirmation. So these are the things that need to happen before things get put back together. Do not let them rebuild your home until this has happened so that you can confirm that this is a safe place for you to live. So I'm going to be going inside. It's loud. I'm on a busy street. There's fans going. I'm going to be wearing a respirator. So I'll do my best to have a good audio quality. It probably won't be, but hopefully you can hear me or understand what I'm doing and what I'm seeing. And so yeah, let's go inside and check it out.
Okay, I'm hoping that my voice comes through, but this is a problem. This room is under containment because some stuff got opened up, and they have a zipper door, and there's nobody here, and they just left it open. So if there's anything in behind here, all of that's going to contaminate the whole rest of this living space. So that's no good. Let's go in and see what we got. All right, with the light in this window, it's kind of hard to see, but I can see some more water staining on the particle board there. That's matted. That's obviously been wet. It's actually not too bad here. There's a little bit more staining there and there, so I'm going to take a sample of that too. Okay, we're walking into another room here. So this doesn't look too bad, as you can see, but I wanted them to open up most of the windows because we found some significant sources in other windows, which made me worried that the windows were not placed well. And so if one wasn't placed well, how do we know that the others weren't as well? And so this actually looks pretty good, but again, you can see some water staining here and definitely up in here and definitely right there. And that does not look like it has been treated at all. So this does not look good to me. There's some staining here. Staining there. That's not cool. They clearly didn't clean this out. Still see some staining in there. Probably a bit there. There. Obviously all in there. Now this is not an easy thing to fix. A remediation company cannot fix this from here. You have to actually go to the back of the house and take off all of the siding to replace this particle board, which may be cost prohibitive for the client. So this is not the remediation company's fault right here, but this does need to be addressed. Now, even though this is stained, you might be able to tell it has been sanded. which is good. That's what we want. And sometimes this stuff just leaves stains behind, even though the growth isn't there. But that's quite a bit, so I'm going to swab that to confirm. Okay, so here's the basement window. Definitely water damage there. And what do you notice here? Why is that OSB and that's paneling? That tells me that this has been fixed before. There was probably a water damage event here before and they fixed it, but they didn't do all of it. So that's probably the previous owner's mistake. And then obviously we've got some growth here. Now again, I think this has been sanded, but the question is, did they get it all? So I'll swab that as well, and some areas down here as well. Obviously some staining around all of these penetrations. Here's a crack. I would like this to be opened up so that we make sure that there's no water coming in from that crack. This has all been sanded, so it should be okay. Even though there's staining left behind, that's common, but we will swab it to confirm.
Okay, so I just finished up with the inspection. I know I'm dirty and my hair is crazy, but that's the life, right? If you want to be a mold inspector, you're gonna have to deal with it. So just a couple things I wanted to mention there. You could see there was a lot of still visible staining, either water staining or potential microbial growth. Now, like I mentioned, they sanded down the areas, which I'm very happy about. That's what I requested. I wanted them to sand all of the microbial growth instead of spraying it with their magic chemical, because remember, the chemical doesn't work. We have to physically remove it. So I'm really glad they did that. The thing about sanding is the staining can go pretty deep, so sometimes it will look like there's possibly something left behind when it may just be a stain. So that's why I swabbed it. I got 7 swabs inside, so we're going to test all of those to confirm whether or not there is any growth there that was left behind or not. Now, you could see in several circumstances when I did the black glove test and I was looking for dust, we had dust on my gloves. So I'm not happy about that. That means they didn't do a really good, thorough, deep, fine particle cleaning, which means mold spores could be left behind. So that's got to be addressed. And in some areas, the containment wasn't amazing. The zipper door was left open in the master bedroom, and in some spaces there just wasn't any containment. Now they think they're done, so they didn't have the negative air pressure going outside, and they didn't have the full containment as I would normally like to see. It should not come down until somebody like me has come in and verified. So that should have been happening. The particle board between the siding and the house, that is a very challenging issue. That is not the fault of the remediation company here, because the homeowner has aluminum siding and they're long pieces across the whole side of the house. So the particle board, it should be replaced, but the expense of that may be unachievable in this situation. So what do we do about this? This is a very difficult situation. Removing it really is the only thing that we should do. But if it's cost prohibitive, we're going to have to think really hard and talk to a contractor about what we can do here. So the basic takeaways here are you have to check. You can't just trust your remediation company that they did it right, because in my experience, most of the time they don't. I know that there are amazing remediation companies out there, I'm still working to find one that I can trust, but you have to check. You have to have somebody come in and test. And you can also, you should be doing this yourself if you're a homeowner, to confirm that there aren't more issues. So yeah, I'm going to send these samples off and we'll see what we get. And hopefully that was helpful for everybody. Any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them below. I'm always happy to connect with you. And we'll see you next time. Bye.